back to Heirloom, Austin. As you can see, the beard got shaved even more. You guys are getting to watch me age on these videos because we're getting quite a gap between the last video I did. Was filmed mostly in the winter time. It was super, super cold. Just as it started to get warmer, I wound up having a health issue. They thought it was a kidney issue. It turned out it was actually a degenerative spinal issue. And I had to have a surgery, so I wasn't able to work on the car. And here we are in the middle of June, and I'm just getting back to it. Recently, though, at least you know, stuff happened during that time. Last video I left off with the tub, and we're going to get back onto that. I'm going to be, you know, finishing up filling those holes for the old design I had for the license bracket, and then drill the new holes, get them all centered. I want to get the floor straightened. I want to get the bumper brackets are done, or getting done, and they're going to go in there, and then I can drill holes for where the bumper mounts, get the floor in. But that's all coming up in the next little bit. Unfortunately, I'm going to be gone for the next 3 weeks because while I'm now back to work, my company is sending me for a 3-week training course for a promotion. So yay on that, but it's bad for working on the car. It is what it is. That's part of life. You know, I'm not a retired guy, so got to work to pay for this car here. Anyway, speaking of paying for stuff, while I was actually just recently, I had the chance to get an Austin Healey 3000 project, and I was so tempted because, you know, it's the big Healey. They're really nice cars, and to top it all off, Age Spares, they're having a sale on parts I would have needed for it. They're having a sale on the front end. They do a lot of the pressed bodywork and stuff, and right now they're having a sale on a lot of their bodywork pieces, their pressed body, and their front end pieces. So that would have worked out. And then my wife pointed out two things. One, I haven't worked very much in the last few years because of the health issues. But the other thing is, so money tight. But the other thing is, when I had that other parts car in here for this one, I had barely any room in my garage. So I don't have room for a big Healey in here as well. So that had to go away. But on the plus side, the time off was not without acquisition. Some time ago I did, this came with the original, actually didn't come with, I managed to get it secondhand. And it was in pretty rough shape. So I sanded the back of it off, and I wound up repainting it from the back side. And I was going to use that on my hood, on my bonnet, sorry for the British parlance. But what happened, and the reason I was doing that is because you couldn't get them. They were out of stock. Nobody had them. Well, guess what? AH Spares has them back. Let's put it right side up, though. AH Spares has them back. They are in stock. They are available. And, I mean, you compare the nice, shiny new one to the one that I did, it's not close, right? So if you need one of these, I jumped on it because as soon as I saw them back in stock, it was like, oh yeah, haven't been able to see these for years. Now they're on. I'll put the part number up here for you if you need one. But anyway, that's beside what I'm doing here. I'm gonna hit back onto this thing here. I'm gonna show you the brackets to mount the bumpers. I'm gonna do some drilling. I'm gonna finish up that metal work on the back end. I showed you an old video on the last one I put up. I showed you highlights from an old one. I found a little bit better clip. I'll show you that. I'll show you the shrinking one because I do some shrinking in the back here. And yeah, we're just gonna kind of move forward from that and get her going. And here we are at the tub. So I'll show you real quick. Sorry about the camera shaking here. But what I do, the old holes, all I've done is I've cut out pieces of metal and put them right over the top. I've tacked them in. They're proud of the surface. And then I'll cut like a quarter of it, weld it down so it's flush, and then cut a little more, weld a little more until it's all in there and flush. This is just tacked in place. I did it from the back side. So one of the things I do, and I've talked about this a lot before, is when I'm welding, I like to have copper behind when I'm doing sheet metal. I can weld a little higher temperature. It's not going to warp the metal as much because it acts as a heat sink. So this is just flattened copper pipe that I've done with a hammer. On this, I'm going to weld it from the underside. And the reason for that is that it makes it easier to metal finish out here, right? Because this is a hard place to do body work. So what I'm going to do is the copper, but it's hard to reach, right? So I'm taking a piece of 2x4 rather than the tape. Here I can get away with this. So I'm going to take a piece of 2x4 and a couple of vice grips, the deep vice grips. Make sure the copper is over the over where the weld's going to go. That's got to go up a little bit there. There we go. That's better. So that'll hold. And then a little bit on this side too. There we go. So that's going to be held in place. So when I hit this from the back side, I got my copper, and we're going to go and hit some welding now. So here you can see we've got the patches in. What we're going to end up doing now is because there's 4 patches, 1, 2, 3, 4, the welds, they actually did heat up a little bit in here, so I've got a bit of an oil can, so I'm just going to shrink that, bring it flat. Basically what you do is you heat up a spot, and when it gets hot, it expands, and then you cool it super rapidly, and what happens is the molecules rearrange themselves and go, and they kind of form it back into their pattern. So you end up with metal that's, when you stretch metal, you make it thinner, right? So it's thinner, but it takes up more space, makes a hump. When you shrink it, you're not taking any metal away, but what you're doing is you're making it from thin metal to thicker metal, so it takes up less space. And this is how you do that with heat. See how much tighter that is now? There's no more boopy, no more oil canning, and that is a lot smoother. I've got a low spot here, and now a low spot is stretched just the same as a high spot. So I'm going to hit it here, and I'm going to get that, and then this will be flat again. And yes, I do turn my torch off between every one of these. It's just a safety thing. I don't want to accidentally bump it. The other thing is, you notice I hit it, I cooled it, and I hit it with the hammer and dolly. The main thing is hammer off dolly, don't hit the dolly, but the other thing is what you're doing is you're creating a vibration, and that helps those molecules form back into their grain. So that's what we're doing here. I should only have to do it one more time. So I don't know if you can see the flame on the camera, but you see where the point of the blue is? That is the hottest spot. So that is what you want on the metal at that spot. And we're just going to get, I can actually see the metal stretch. You can see it kind of make a thing, make a dip. And then we're just discoloring it a little bit. Turn it off quickly. Hit it. You actually see it shrink back. Dolly, way from the head. There's a little high there, a little low there, so just move the metal towards it. Now that is cool. And cool it a little more, it's not super hot yet. Oh, that's amazingly different. So anyway, that is how we're doing that. I'm just gonna hit this with the dolly one more time. I got a little high there, a little low there still. So the dolly's going behind here, and we're just gonna move the metal over. And that's how we do it. So now that that's all shrunk down, we're going to take some measurements here. I'm going to assume that this is in the center, but let's just make sure about that. So from there, 38. Let's do that from the. Let's go from the seam to the seam. That is 38 inches. This is at 19. Oh, look at that. That's perfect. On my license plate cover, these holes are, now if you want to measure center to center, it's hard to guess the center sometimes. What you can do is you can actually measure from this edge to this edge, and it's the same as center to center, right? So that is 6 3/4 inches. There's our center right there. You can just see the mark. That is our center line. Now just to double check, I'm going to measure from there. So that is right there. Oh, that is bang on center. Look at that. Same distance from there to there. Let's put this at 3 3/8. 3 3/8, and I'm going to mark the 6 3/4 and the 0. So that should be exactly centered. Let's run it this side. So 0, 3 3/8, 6 3/4. So that is exactly the center. Yeah, so we want it right about, that's about centered. So we're going to mark you. Oh, we're going to check for level after this anyway. So, oops. Right? Actually, let's put it 1.5, 1 3/4. Seems to be where that one is. Do 1 3/4. Now let's measure from the bottom to make sure, because this thing has changed shape a little bit. So it's 4 inches to this and 3.5 to that. 3.5 and 4. Okay. So that is where we want this. So we know where we want to have our holes drilled, and then I'm going to put captive nuts on the back. Once the bodywork is done, I'll put bolts through sticking out. So this can go on. I can put spacer nuts, right? So that's the plan. We're going to get this done. We're going to start by marking it with a punch, just so that the drill bit can go through nice and clean. Whoops, come on. And if you can see the metal chips flying off of that, you know why I wear the glasses. I don't like the thought of not being able to see another redhead again as long as I live, so I wear the glasses.